we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Oh, you and I, we got it. Oh, we don't need no can weather any storm. Before I sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon. Side by side and through. No limit to what we can do. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right.
Alright, what is up, Lifeliners? Welcome back to the channel. So, on last episode we talked about my food loadout that I'm going to be bringing with me on this Ice Age Trail Mammoth Challenge that is happening now in October. That started October 1st. So, the fun part, let's talk about the gear that I'm bringing with me. So I'm going to do a full gear loadout of what I'm actually taking, along with some upgraded stuff that I just got today. I'm super stoked about this stuff. I've been kind of saving up for quite a while to be able to upgrade some of the gear into way better stuff, way lighter stuff. And kind of start steering more away from that budgeted gear that I've been using to essentially survive, right? So yeah, what do we want to talk about first? There's so much stuff. So you guys have seen a lot of the gear that I've used on different little day hikes and things like that. I've talked about little individual things, done some videos on some new gear arrivals, but today we're just gonna talk about everything. So yeah, so I guess first things first, let's talk about shelter. So I am still hammock camping. I have not kind of elevated to tent camping yet, even though I do have a tent in the storage room. But it's super heavy, so we're sticking with the hammock. One, because it's like sleeping like you're on a cloud. Two, I've been doing this for quite a while now. I love hammocks. So first thing, so I'm using, again, this is going to be backwards. I'm using the front camera. It is what it is. So I'm using the Ultralight Outdoor Vitals hammock. Now, one thing that I did swap out, so even though the straps that come with this particular hammock are very durable, very lightweight, I find myself to be in areas where trees are a little further apart. So for the hammock straps, I have these Grand Trunk hammock straps that I've stuck in a Hammock Gear Dyneema stuff sack. So I'm going to be using that. Bug net. So obviously I don't want creepy crawlies crawling on me. You guys have seen the different bug nets that I use. I do have one from Maya that I love. But because I am trying to save a bit of weight on this particular trip, because it is a longer trip, I'm going super ultralight, and we're using the Outdoor Vitals bug net. Plus, we're in October, so it is kind of wet in October. It just rained today, actually. And one cool thing I really like about this, besides the fact that it's just ridiculously lightweight, is that the bottom has water repellent, and then so do the sides where the hammock would come through. So a little bit of help, which we're going to need for one of the other items that I'm bringing with me. The tarp, so using the hammock gear Journey tarp that has the doors on it. You guys have seen a couple of videos now on that. And I did place the tarp in a hammock gear stuff sack just to give it a little bit more protection. It does come with a stuff sack, but I wanted a Dyneema bag, so I've got a Dyneema bag from Hammock Gear. Kind of the difference between some of the stuff sacks that I get from Hammock Gear and Hyperlite mountain gear. Hammock Gear is going to be a little bit less expensive than the Hyperlite stuff. I obviously love Hyperlite, and I'm still buying different stuff sacks, which we'll get into a little bit later on. But because I bought the tarp from Hammock Gear, I went with one of their stuff sacks, and it fits perfectly in here. Using the Outdoor Vitals Inflatable Pillow. This thing is super small, compact. I've been using this for quite a while. I love this thing. It's comfortable for me. Some people don't like sleeping on inflatable pillows, but I love this thing. I am bringing the To Summit little underneath gear sling. I always bring this with me just so I have a place to put my shoes or just excess gear, whatever. Because again, like I don't want to wake up and there's, you know, creepy spiders and stuff inside of my shoe biting on my toes. So I'm bringing this with me. Tent stakes, or I'm sorry, well, they're tent stakes, but we're using... these are still just Walmart stakes. I haven't upgraded to the MSR groundhogs yet. I have 8 stakes in here. The stuff sack for this is from Hammock Gear. It's their stake stack. So I brought 8 with me because each of the sides of the tarp take 3 stakes plus the door. Putting the doors together would be 1 stake for each side. So 8 stakes. I do have the Hammock Gear poles to pull that tarp out. You guys have seen that before. And I have a specific stuff sack, again made out of Dyneema from Hammock Gear, that holds the poles. Instead of using like the little loop alien things with the guy outline to be able to adjust everything, I want the tarp to be a bit lower to the ground. I didn't want to have to like retie different strings that were smaller. So we're just using the bungee cords. These are 10-inch cords that I picked up from Walmart. I think they sell them in like packs of 4. So yeah, so we're bringing 8 of these. Not as lightweight as like the loop alien and the guy outline and whatever, but just a little simpler and quicker to set up. What else? So for some extra, you know, lineage, things like that, I'm bringing some 550 paracord, and then I also have some like Zing-It style cordage as well. So in case I have to hang the backpack, obviously my food I want to get off the ground, but the paracord is just, you know, I bring that with me all the time. So that'll be that. To keep me warm inside the hammock, I'm using the To Summit Reactor fleece liner. So meant to obviously go inside of a sleeping bag, to kind of protect the inside of the sleeping bag, not get like your skin oils and like soiling that, so you don't have to wash the bag as much. Utilizing this particular liner adds up to 32 degrees with the sleeping bag, so for way colder weather. Again, we're in October, so I've just been using this on like cooler summer months, and even months like this where we're getting into September, October, that fall weather. So I am just only bringing this as my kind of sleeping bag blanket. I'm hoping that this will be warm enough. And then one of the other things I just got, and it just arrived today, and I'm stoked about this, is the Outdoor Vitals Aerie Zero Down Underquilt. So this thing, I haven't even taken it out of the pack yet. It comes with its own little stuff sack. So obviously, I buy tons of Outdoor Vitals stuff. Because I'm utilizing their hammock, I wanted to stick with gear that was a little bit more specific to their hammock. So I got the Aerie Zero. The reason I picked this particular one compared to some of the other underquilts that they do offer, I picked this for a few reasons. So this is 800 fill down, okay, which is super, super warm. And this particular underquilt can be used in a few different ways. So it can be used as an underquilt underneath the hammock to protect that backside from all that cold air drafting underneath you. And it can be used as a blanket. You can totally like unzip it and it lays out. The other thing is that it can be used as a sleeping bag, which is pretty cool because most underquilts can't be utilized that way. Can also be used as a double sleeping bag. So if you were to have two of these, you can actually zip them together. And if you have a wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, kids with you, you can all kind of fit utilizing two of these. The other really cool thing, which I'm hoping that this helps when it comes to warmth, is that once it's underneath that hammock, it actually can zip over you, and it kind of replicates like a mummy pod. So that's why I picked this one. So this weighs 2 pounds 1 ounce. The stuff sack that it comes with weighs another ounce. I am going to be putting this inside of a Hyperlite mountain gear stuff sack, just because it is down. It is, DWR water repellent coated. However, down and water don't really mix well. So I want a bit more protection on this. This was a pretty expensive item. Probably one of the most expensive things that I've bought so far. But yeah, so I'm super excited to try this out. Outdoor Vitals, Aerie Zero. After this trip, I'll be doing a full review on this when it comes to setup, warmth, all of that, compressibility. It looks rather large, right now, but this should stuff down, I'm hoping pretty small. The fabric itself is 20D ripstop. There's like a nice baffling system. But yeah, so yeah, that's my shelter system that I'll be utilizing on this 50-mile hike. The next thing that we'll talk about, so another new piece of gear. So I've been using, let me grab. All right, so my camp chair. You guys have seen this in tons of videos. I love this camp chair. I bought it from Walmart. I want to say I paid like $10 for this, maybe a little bit more. I like this chair. I really do. I did try to weigh it on a scale. It's a little hard because it obviously won't fit all the way on the scale. So I just kind of like laid it down as best I could, tried to stand it up as best I could. And it weighs just over a pound, which is not the end of the world, especially for a luxury item like this. A lot of people don't carry chairs. I do because I like to sit down and eat. I don't want to sit on the dirty ground. I don't want to sit on a sit pad. Like, I want to be comfortable. Yeah, so I mean, for a luxury item, it's fine. The problem is it's super long, it's bulky. Different backpacks that I use, I don't always have, like, it's weird places to stick this thing. On the big 65 liter outdoor, I don't know, Ozark Trail. It's an Ozark Trail backpack. Like, I've been attaching it to the bottom of it with the straps. But certain like smaller areas, like it's down by my butt and like on the backpack, and it like catches on branches. It's just a pain in the ass. So I think we're going to utilize this for fishing instead of camping and hiking. So there is a chair that I have had my eyes on for quite some time. I've been reluctant to buy it just because of the price point that's on it. The weight is about the same. It's still about a pound. I believe it's £1 1 ounce. So a little bit lighter than the chair that I've been using. And that just came yesterday. But that is the Helinox Chair Zero. So this is by far, I think, like the lightest chair that's on the market right now. If you guys can find something lighter and still durable, put it down in the comment section. I'd love to check it out. I'm always interested in chairs and comfortability. I do take luxury items with me. Like, I don't care. I'm not trying to be like super ultra light and very, very minimalist and all of that. So the Helinox Chair Zero does come with its own stuff sack. I'm not sure, like a polyester style stuff sack. I had, if you guys remember from like the beginning of this channel, I was in need of stuff sacks, and I went to Walmart just to try to buy stuff sacks and dry bags and all of that. So I have a few of these outdoor products, dry bags, and they were fine when I was using them, but the problem was it's so tall that like everything just kind of stacks up, but it was actually perfect for the Chair Zero. So I want to try to keep this chair a little bit more protected, against the elements and whatnot. So kind of ditching the generic stuff sack that it comes with. And I'm just going to put it in this for now. Maybe down the road, I'll upgrade to a better dry bag for it. But this seems to be working, quite fine. I didn't weigh the actual dry bag. It's probably another couple of ounces added to it. So this whole thing will be just over a pound. There are some accessories. Again, this is a very expensive chair. There are some accessories that you can get with it. There's like these little like balls that you can put on the legs to kind of give a little bit more stability while it's on the ground. There's also like this ground sheet that connects to the legs so that like you're not sinking in softer land. There's a little cup holder that attaches. So that's by Helinox. So that's kind of just a luxury item that I'm bringing with me. Super, super comfortable. I already sat in it yesterday. Pretty excited about it. So that is that. Another thing that I've upgraded to, so you guys saw on one of my Menominee Falls little camping multi-day trips. I was at Walmart. I've been looking at these for my son. I've been watching so many hiking videos with people using trekking poles. I've always kind of wanted trekking poles. So I ended up just buying these as like a budget item. They were like $20. I plan on giving them to my son anyway, because he likes walking sticks and things like that. So it wasn't like a wasted purchase. If you guys are on a budget, these are fine. They'll do what they need to do, kind of keep you balanced, keep, a little bit more energy in you. But yeah, so they've worked out on a few trips, but I am retiring these. These are Ozark Trail, $20. There is another one that's there that I think are like $40. But yeah, so Cork handles, it's been fine. They've worked out. It's got a flat foot on it, whatever. But retiring those, and those will go to my son, and he'll be able to utilize them. He'll love them. So what I've done is I've upgraded to the Black Diamond Ergo Cork Grip Trail trekking poles. Again, pretty expensive item compared to the $20 that I spent at Walmart. So I just actually picked these up from Aerie. I've been kind of looking at these and another pair, but I ended up going with these. The tip on it is removable and replaceable with other type of tips. And the material, it's aluminum shafts. There's natural cork grips. The grips themselves are angled, so it's ergonomic. Down at the bottom for like the adjustability and whatnot, there's these little, if you can see them, these little they're called flick locks. and then your pole just extends. So pretty excited about these. I haven't actually taken these out on an actual trail. I've just been kind of walking around the house with them. So they're pretty lightweight. I couldn't actually find like an actual weight on these on the Black Diamond website. But they're, weighing them, they're around a pound. So a little heavier compared to some other types of trekking poles that are out there. I like Black Diamond products, so I ended up going with these. So so out on the trail, we'll definitely be doing a review on these. One cool thing with the handles, if you guys can see, so I don't know how well that you can see that, but there's a little R there, and on this one there is a little L. So those are your hands, left and right. So yeah, cool little straps on there. And then also it does come with, if you guys are doing like any type of snow hiking, it does come with the little snow baskets. So you can put those on there as well. There are like tip protectors and things like that that you can buy. So like when you're putting them inside of your backpack and things like that. REI was out of those. So that's going to have to be an order from Black Diamond just so I can put those over so it's not poking holes in all of my stuff. So I'm actually pretty excited about those, especially since using these other trekking poles on some of these trips. All right, so next, let's talk about, because it's October and it's raining, so things to keep me dry. So for my backpack, which we'll get into, I do have this Outdoor Products rain kind of pack cover that I have. I think this fits up to a 65-liter bag, I believe it was. Maybe a 45-liter bag. But I had this for a backpack that I bought a long time ago. And I bought this just to kind of keep the pack dry because it's not a waterproof pack. Super lightweight, it's packable. So I am bringing this to put over my backpack just to kind of keep the pack itself a little bit, drier. Obviously the tarp that we'll be utilizing for the hammock, plus if it storms on me too hard, I just need to take a break, I can quick throw the tarp up there and just have like a little shelter to stay under. The other thing is we'll be using right behind me, hanging up because I washed it, is the Frog Togs Extreme Light rain jacket. So you guys have seen me wear that on various trips and whatnot. So we'll be bringing that as a rain jacket. Next, let's talk about electronics. So as far as electronics that I'm bringing the phone that I'm using to record on, and my other phone that I use for, other various things. I always bring two phones with me. Why do you have two phones, Kevin? Well, I bought this phone when I was live streaming, covering protests and things like that. So I pretty much utilized this phone just for recording purposes, things like that, and the other phone so I could coordinate while I was like filming. So I'll have two phones with me. I am bringing two Anchor portable power banks. I believe both of these are like the 20,000 milliamp one. The one that I have has one slot, and then the other one I have has two slots. Generally, these can charge my phone, about 5 times, as long as I'm not sitting there like playing on it and doing things, watching videos. But generally, is enough to charge both my phones, charge my headlamps, my camera stuff, whatever. I always bring 2 with me. It's a little bit of overkill, but I just want to make sure that because I do have a lot of different things that require power, I just want to make sure I never lose power. I am going to be bringing the little outlet so that I can charge these. I'm not going to be like so off in the backcountry because I do have to visit some of these communities. So there's little restaurants and things that I can stop at. So I'm bringing that to kind of charge everything. In one of my Nano Dyneema stuff sacks from Hyperlite, this has the different types of cords that I'll need to charge the various items that I'm going to have with me. So just to kind of protect these a bit more, I do stick these in a Hyperlite bag. And then like my little action camera. It's kind of a generic one that I got off of Amazon. It's a Suku. Pretty difficult to find these on Amazon now. There's other action cameras if you just type in like 4K action camera. There's other ones, anywhere ranging from like $40 to like $100. So not super GoPro, worthy, but they shoot in 4K. They're pretty nice. Doesn't have all of the features like a GoPro, but I mean, it's worked out well. I've shot a lot of videos on this thing, and it's come out fine. And then the little holder for the actual camera, and then I've got this little kind of shoulder clamp thing, so I can clip this, wherever. So I've been bringing this stuff with me, covering protests, as a backup camera, and even while I'm out on trail, like as I'm walking. So yeah, so that will be pretty much the only like electronic items that I'm bringing with me. As far as lighting is concerned, so in one of the last Menominee Falls trips, I showed you guys this little light. So I'm gonna bring this, just as like a night light for inside of the hammock. I like it because it's got this little clip I can hang on my continuous ridgeline. Different settings as far as like brightness and whatever. And like I put like a structural ridgeline kind of across camp at the Menominee Falls trip I took last time, and then hung this thing up there, and I mean it was great. So yeah, as you can see, pretty bright. Another setting, it's a red light, flashing in case like I need some serious help. So yeah, so I am gonna be bringing this with me. A flashlight, a lot of people think this might be overkill. I like to carry a flashlight. So I have the Olight. This is the S30R Baton Olight flashlight. This is definitely coming with me. I stick this inside of like my little chest bag. So that's coming. And then a new piece of gear that I just got for a headlamp. So you guys have seen like other headlamps that I've used. I bought one from Walmart. I've used that for fishing. It's super bright. It's got a pretty long range on it. So like when I'm salmon fishing and I'm trying to like follow my line at night, whatever, when I'm reeling a big fish in, I use that headlamp. There's nothing wrong with that headlamp. I think it's great. It costs $29.99 at Walmart. But I did upgrade to one of the more popular headlamps that everybody is using right now. And this is the Nightcore NU25. So this thing is super, super thin. If you guys can see that. I mean, it's tiny and practically weighs nothing. A lot of people take the headband off and they'll just like tie in some shock cord just to make it even more ultralight and kind of shave, another couple ounces off. I like the headband portion of it, so I don't really care about 2 ounces. So yeah, so this thing's pretty nice. So it's got a red light on there, so you're not disturbing people at night. And then the actual light itself, which 3 different brightnesses. So yeah, pretty excited about this. I did take this out like kind of in the backyard at night just to kind of see how bright things were gonna be. And then walking on one of the trails, I was coming back at night. I had swapped out the headlamps already, and yeah, I mean this was pretty good. So few dollars more than the headlamp that I have, but I wanted to check it out. It is a little bit lighter than the one that I have as well. So this is a new piece of gear I'm pretty stoked about. Let's see. As far as water, let's talk about water. So obviously, I drink a lot of water. You're not, taking juices and sodas with me. So I usually pack out, several liters of water. So I'll buy these smart bottles. One thing that I've done just to make things a little bit easier. So like on the 1 liter bottles, it just comes with a regular cap. But on like the 750 bottles, you've got these little flip style caps. So I have a few of those, and I've just kind of swapped out the lids. So yeah, I buy these and just replace water as I need it. So I am taking 1 liter bottle with me. That'll be filled up when I start. Another new piece of gear that I bought a Nalgene 32 ounce bottle. I bought this for a couple of reasons. So one, it holds 32 ounces of water, which is super, super important. It's got little measuring ticks on the side of it to help with measuring out water and things like that for cooking and whatnot. But one of the main reasons I bought this, one, again, it is October, it is colder at night and sometimes even during the day. Like today is a little bit chilly. Probably like shorts and a hoodie type weather, right? If you're comfortable enough, and especially if you're going to be doing some outdoor activities, but you can actually boil hot water, and that sounds funny, right? Boil hot water. You can actually boil water and stick it in here, and the boiling water is not going to affect the water bottle. And utilizing that hot water, you can actually stick it in your sleeping bag, or in my case, the fleece liner, down by your feet or whatnot, just to kind of add a little bit of warmth into your sleeping system. So at night, if it does get pretty chilly when I'm kind of setting everything up to camp for the night, I am going to boil some water and put it in here just to add to a little bit more warmth. So that's coming with me. I think that was like $10 on Amazon. Some of the stuff I sort of remember prices, other things I sort of don't. 2 other water items that I'm bringing with. So if you guys watched the intro video and you haven't skipped through that, you saw me filling up water from a couple of streams. So I am using the Katadyn Be Free 1 liter water filter. What's really cool about this, so there's your filter element, and then the bag that it comes with is collapsible. So kind of it's food grade, safe, but essentially you're scooping up water and then you just screw on the cap. It does have a little flip style cap on it, and then you can drink right from there. So I bought this, took it on a day hike with me, utilized this. This was super, super nice, easy to fill, and it's, ridiculously lightweight. Now, just because of the trail that I'm going on, I'm not sure when it comes to water stops, even though there's tons of cities that are on this trail. So in worst case scenario, I can jump off and go to a gas station or a restaurant. But I may not want to do that, or I may run out of water before I get to one of those. I'm not sure the water sources that might be on the trail, because I've never done this. And even though I'm scouting out the map and trying to plan this trip a little bit more than I normally plan, I'm concerned about water. So I bought the Katadyn Be Free 3 liter water bladder. So what is actually pretty cool about this, so it holds 3 liters of water. You've got the little tick marks on the back to let you know how much water is left in there. This can be used as a gravity system, so you can hang this while filtering out your water. And then again, it comes with a filter on it. So this I'll fill up and strap onto the top of my backpack. I'm sure you could also use this as like a water bladder inside of the backpack just to hold water. I'm going to put it on the outside. So yeah, so utilizing the 1 liter bottle, you know, I've already had practice with this. You know, I think that that's going to be fine to be able to use as, you know, a gravity filter, a bladder to hold extra water. So yeah, I'll be bringing both of these with me, and hopefully it holds up in, you know, some colder type weather and is not going to, you know, freeze or crack. We're not in freezing weather yet, so I think we should be fine. As far as like safety and hygiene, bug repellent, things like that. So we're going to take the Sawyer permethrin. I'm going to spray it on my backpack. I'm going to spray it on my clothes. There shouldn't be like crazy bugs everywhere, especially when it comes to like, you know, ticks or mosquitoes, chiggers, things like that. But just because I don't like creepy crawlies, we're going to spray everything down just to make sure. I did take a little day hike and there were still some, you know, little flying creepy crawlies flying around and attacking my face. And then we're going to take the Sawyer Katadyn. So we got a lotion version of this to, you know, rub on your arms and whatnot. Amazon does have packets, like single-use packets of these. So I would definitely, you know, that's going to be a little bit lighter weight. You know, depending how many days like you're going out. Like I'm doing a 4-day trip, so I can take 4 of those packets instead of taking the entire bottle. But we ran out of money, so, and I've had this, so we're going to take that with. I do still have a couple of little, you know, citronella armbands that I picked up from Walmart. Again, these are like 88 cents. So I had a couple left, so I'm going to bring those with me. You know, waterproof, stormproof matches. I've refilled up what I had. I'm going to bring this with just in case. I don't plan on lighting any type of fires while I'm out there this time because I'm not really doing like a multi-day camping trip where I'm just going to kind of sit and relax after maybe a day hike. But just in case for like emergency purposes. So I do have stormproof matches. I am bringing a big lighter just because. And then kind of like a little makeshift first aid kit. So I've got some Band-Aids in here. I've got some hand sanitizer, burn cream, triple antibiotic. I do have a couple of pairs of gloves in case I'm touching blood or whatever, and then like a roll of like waterproof tape. So again, I stuck that in one of the nano size Hyperlite mountain gear stuff sacks just because I don't really need a lot. And even though I have the big, like I think it's a 5 liter To Summit first aid bag that is like filled. I was using that for Protest World. I don't need all of that stuff. I don't need to carry 4 pounds of medical supplies. So just something small, simple, compact. And then while I was at REI, I found a titanium whistle. So I call this my little rape whistle. But yeah, it's pretty loud. It's titanium. It's super lightweight. It does come with its own string, so you know you can hang it around your neck. I haven't decided if I want to just hang it around my neck or kind of tie it to one of the daisy chains on the backpack and, you know, just kind of have it smaller or keep it in my little chest bag, which, you know, I've been kind of carrying everything in there. But, you know, if there's any type of emergencies, I need to like whistle for help or whatever. I have this little Vargo titanium whistle. So trying to like, because I go so much, I'm, you know, alone doing these solo things. I don't really tell people where I'm going for safety issues. But I'm starting to get a little bit more like safety conscious. So trying to still stay within a budget for now until I can kind of upgrade, getting like Garmin InReaches and things like that. So yeah, and then I'll have like a little ditty bag that I'll carry with me that'll have, you know, a few extra carabiners. I do have one loop alien, a couple little micro carabiners in here, and then these little hooks that hook into the ridgeline, the continuous ridgeline on my hammock, and I can hang like little stuff sack things on there. Or, I was using them for the lights that I was using on the inside of the hammock, which I'm not bringing. Those ENO, like, I don't know what they're called, twinkle lights, whatever. I'm not bringing those with me just because it's unnecessary. I have this little like polyester bag. I don't remember what came in this, but it was small enough, so I usually pack this in my ditty bag anyway. So I am bringing that. I do have a couple of continuous loops that I ordered, I don't know, either from Hammock Gear or Dutchware Gear. I was using these essentially, like when I ordered them to like be able to do that press knot. And it works, but not as well as I really wanted it to, just because of the material that this is made out of. But I have used them where you're basically like looping it through itself, and then I can hang something from it. So I have 2 of those I bring. Then I've got like a little S-beaner, and then a Night Eyes. Forgot what this is called, but like it's got a lock on there. Run cord through, whatever. If I again need to run a line, across a couple of trees, or utilize this to hang something. So I always bring that stuff with, just in case. Contact solution, because I do wear contacts. I am going to bring my glasses with me because contacts are old. I have like 2-week disposables. I've been wearing this one pair for over a year, and they've really been like seriously bothering my eyes lately. Something I should probably take care of. I am going to bring a toothbrush and toothpaste, so I just got some janky toothpaste, some dental floss. I always bring that stuff with. Yeah, and then bathroom wise, so I still haven't bought like a little trowel. I cannot find like the little shovel that I was using way back, if you guys remember those videos of my first time pooping outdoors. So yeah, I haven't bought like a little ultralight trowel yet. So we're just gonna make do with my hands, I guess, or a stick. But I am gonna be bringing some wipes with me, and do our best to kind of pack those out because they're not biodegradable ones. And then another thing for rain gear, I totally forgot about this, but my To Summit ultralight umbrella, that's coming with as well. And then I showed you guys this in one of the previous videos, but my REI little fanny pack thing. So again, it's got like the little loops on the back. You can run your belt through it. I put it out across the chest strap of the backpack. So just simple things. So typically in here, like I'll carry my ID, my debit cards, a face mask, just because we're in a pandemic, a little kind of lens cleaner for either my sunglasses, my regular glasses, or to wipe the camera off. So yeah, and then I also keep my keys in here, which on my keychain I got a couple of keys, one for the place I'm staying, my storage unit, and then my P51 can opener. So yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, so that usually sits in here, and so does the headlamp and my Olight flashlight. That'll sit in here as well. All right, next up we have, I have so much stuff laid out. But next up, so we have cooking. So I'm gonna end up bringing, so I've obviously been buying like the Tokes titanium cook pots. I have 4 of them now. So I've got the, I think it's a 1300, right? Is what we bought, the 1300 cook pot. I do have the 750. I do have a 550, and then I've got I think it's a 375, which was too small for me. I'm going to utilize it for my son. So the 550, this is going to be like my drinking cup, this is my coffee cup, whatever. I do bring 2 additional pots because I cook different types of meals while I'm out there. Some are only going to require a pot like this, where other things, while I'm cooking something in here, I'm making some type of sauce or whatever, inside of the 750. So yeah, inside this I do have a smaller fuel canister. I am not bringing the big canisters that I normally bring. I'm bringing a half size, and that fits perfectly inside of here. So that will come with, and just kind of set in there just to save packable space inside of the backpack. The 750 cook pot that I have from Tokes, so that's where I'm housing my stove. So I'm still using the Coleman Peak 1. I'm still desperately trying to upgrade to the MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe, but kind of ran over budget on some of the other gear that I picked up. So yeah, eventually that is coming. So those 3 little cook pots I'm bringing, a lot of people are going to tell me this is overkill. You don't need that. Yes, I'm aware. I get it. But this makes me comfortable. I like, one little cup to be able to drink out of while I'm also trying to cook the different types of meals. So you can refer to my food loadout that I'm doing on this trip. Spoon wise, so you guys have seen my To Summit titanium spork, and I'm sorry, my spoon, I just spoiled it, my spoon, but I actually just picked up To Summit spork as well. So now I have 2. Again, yes, I'm aware this is redundant. I don't need both. I wanted both, so I grabbed both. There's a reason. So yeah. I did also pick up this little GSI foldable spatula. So this thing just kind of goes like that, and then you've got a spatula. So again, because of the types of food that I'm cooking on trail, I wanted to be able to actually use the spatula instead of the spoon to be able to flip things and whatever. I'm not 100% sure if I'm bringing this with me or not. On this particular trip, I might not, so we'll see. And then I have my windscreen, which is in here. I got this off Amazon. I'm not sure what company. There's a million windscreens. So just like a little aluminum windscreen that is collapsible and foldable, just to shelter the stove from wind and be able to cook better without that flame kind of blowing around and wasting fuel. Inside, like my little stuff sack here, I've got my MSR canister holder. So for those of you that don't know, MSR is Mountain Safety Research. Really great company. They've got tons and tons of different gear as far as like cook systems, shelters, water filtration, really cool stuff. So I don't have like all the really cool stuff that I want to get from them. I just have a few like little accessory style items. But yeah, so the MSR canister holder, so my little fuel canister sits right on there. I do have the MSR. I didn't even realize this when I bought this, but this is also an MSR pot holder. So when the titanium pots are super hot, I can just use this to grip them and do whatever I need to do. That's also by MSR. I've got an additional P51 can opener inside of here. And then I have the Petzl igniter. And then when not in use, I keep my little CJRB little chef knife inside of here because I'm actually being active and going on trail. This will set in my pocket. So yeah. So that knife, like I really only use it for food, not to like open boxes, not to try to get kindling or anything like that. I just wanted. Oh, and all my lights went out. Bad weather? I wonder what's going on. Hang on, I'll be back. All right, well, welcome back. So yeah, the power went out and it was like flickering for about 5 minutes, on, off, and then just that was it. So been without power for a few hours, about maybe 3 hours, and the power just came back on. So wanted to finish this video. It's already, it's a long video, I get it, but I wanted to do like a really kind of thorough gear loadout for you guys, and exactly what I'm taking. So all right, so to finish off on the entire cook system, so we've already talked about the titanium pots that I'm taking. I am taking my To Summit Alpha pan with me, just because like there's meat and vegetables and things that I want to fry up, and I want kind of a larger flat surface instead of doing it inside of one of the cook pots. So this will be coming with me. Obviously my To Summit tea kettle so I can boil water. The little coffee dripper, that's going to come. Coffee is desperately important. I am taking my little teaspoon, I don't know, they're plastic. They're super lightweight, like they're a little bulky, but they're super lightweight. And then as far as like my collapsible measuring cups, I know there's like little tick marks on a lot of the items that I'm using. I like using the measuring cups. I don't know if that's from like years of cooking at home, but whatever. So I'm bringing the 1 cup and the half cup. I'm not bringing the whole thing. So yeah, so that'll come with me. So I will show you one other piece of cookware that I am bringing with me, but it's kind of packed away already. So when I get to this other piece of gear, I will go into all of that. So one thing I did want to talk about is, so again, it's October. It's been raining all day today. Obviously, we had some bad weather that knocked the power out. So I have tons and tons of stuff sacks from Hyperlite mountain gear. 2 new ones that I ended up getting. You guys have seen other stuff sacks that I have by them. But 2 new ones that I got. So I picked up their pod system. So this is the bigger version, the large version. Because I am, almost lost it. I am gonna end up purchasing the Hyperlite mountain gear Southwest 4400. So that's like a 70-liter backpack. Basically a big giant Dyneema stuff sack with backpack straps. So this particular pod system is fit specifically for that size backpack by Hyperlite. So I picked that up. Now it's super stuffed because I took my Underquilt, my Outdoor Vitals Underquilt, and I shoved it in this thing. You guys saw how big that thing was. It takes a little bit of maneuvering that thing into this and kind of squishing it down and zipping, squishing down and zipping, but it does fit. So this is actually going to sit at the bottom of my pack with this in there. So I want this to have like a lot of protection. I do not need this item getting soaking wet because I'll probably cry. Speaking of that though, I did kind of lay it across my bed. I, played with it a little bit, climbed inside of it. It is super warm. It's very comfortable. It's big. It's super spacious. So that's what I can say about that now. I think maybe while I'm on trail, obviously I'm going to use it as an underquilt and, have it wrap around like that mummy pod style and zip it up. I may even one night actually just use it as a sleeping bag and take that To Summit Reactor liner, put that in there, and then just kind of sleep in that inside of the hammock and kind of see how that works. My only concern is that, the baffling that's underneath me, pressed up against the hammock, like you kind of lose all of that insulation. And I don't have any type of like sleeping pad or anything like that to kind of put between the hammock and my underquilt, but I might try it. We'll see what happens. But definitely a big, review on that thing after, some days of using it. But yeah, so this pod system, like I've used these, like this particular one, I've been playing around with like different gear. I've put all of my entire hammock system in there. So like the hammock, the straps, swapping out different, both bug nets to see which, if they both fit. Is only the ultralight one from Outdoors Vitals, does that fit? Putting like the stakes in there, the pillow, the gear thing, like all of that stuff. That fits in there nice, and a lot of like roominess still to kind of compress that down. I've also used this and stuffed like a whole bunch of food in there, which worked out well. So the pod system, for those of you that like organization, and when you're getting into these backpacks that don't have tons of pockets and zippers and all of that, like the Hyperlite bags, but you still want organization, that's where like all these different stuff sacks and these pod systems, that stuff is really going to come in handy. So I picked this one up, and yeah, specifically made for that size backpack. It is a little tight fit putting it in the backpack I'm taking with me, but it is what it is. The next stuff sack that I got, so again, meant for the bag that I'm getting from Hyperlite. So this is a roll top stuff sack. Most of mine from Hyperlite are drawstring, but this is a roll top stuff sack. So this thing is completely waterproof. But yeah, so I got to play around a little bit. Like I was using my Maya underquilt, that thing, and kind of just like throwing that in here with the fleece liner, and then like putting my clothes in there and putting like any other gear that like I don't want wet. So I'm utilizing this as a pack liner. So again, meant for the specific backpack from Hyperlite that I'm going to purchase, but this does fit. I've stuck it in like the big giant blue backpack that you guys have seen. I've stuck it in the new backpack that I'm bringing with me on this trip. So it works great as a pack liner. So just going to be kind of playing around and seeing what fits and where and how I'm organizing everything. But before we get into the backpacks, I know you guys are all curious about that. Let's talk about clothes. So clothes that I'm bringing with me, I'm not bringing as much as I normally do. So I'm bringing 2 shirts. One shirt I'm going to hike in for 4 days, and the other shirt will be a sleeping shirt. So 2 shirts. Yesterday, I walked outside. It was pretty warm out during the day. I wasn't planning on bringing shorts because it has been cooler out, but it was pretty hot, and then cooled off at night. So I am going to be bringing my hiking shorts with me, because if it is, humid and hot during the day, I don't want to be wearing pants. So I'm bringing that with me. I am bringing 2 pairs of socks. So I'll have 1 pair of socks on me. I'm bringing an extra pair just in case. Kind of ran out of like the budget to either buy some Injinji socks, which I've been looking at, or a pair of Darn Tough. And they're pretty pricey. They're like between $13 and $18 a pair. So I'm just bringing these. So I got a pair of Dickies socks. They're comfortable. I've worn these in the wintertime. They're fine. Not obviously ideal on a hike. You really don't kind of want like cottony style things, but it's gonna have to do. This is what I have. So some stuff like I'm going crazy and super ultralight and expensive gear, and other things I'm still kind of on a budget for. So it is what it is. And then I have another pair. These are a little bit thicker. This is going to be a sleeping pair of socks. If you guys remember, like I think I mentioned in the last Menominee Falls trip, like I was freezing. I did not sleep comfortably. I don't know why. So, and again, it's colder outside, so I am bringing a thermal top. I do have thermal bottoms as well. So my plan is I should be fine hiking during the day, just either in the shorts or a pair of pants, and essentially utilize this as sleeping gear to kind of stay warm and whatnot. And if it does get cold during the day, I can just slip these on and warm up. So then, like I said, I am bringing a pair of pants as well. Originally I just to kind of cut down on stuff, I wasn't going to bring the pair of shorts. I was just going to hike in the pants, but I don't know. We'll see. So then the other big decision was a hoodie. There's a couple of hoodies that I'm looking at, but they are a bit pricey. And, these hoodies that I wear, like the hooked up fishing hoodie or like my press hoodie, like when I'm doing journalism stuff, they're just, Gildan 50/50 heavy blend, cotton hoodies. So I really don't want to wear cotton while I'm out there. It won't be the end of the world. It's only a couple of days, but they're super bulky. So again, if it's hot during the day while I'm hiking, I got to stick this somewhere in the pack, and trying to roll it up or even folding it, it's just bulky, and they're heavy. So I have a Goodwill that I found, and I went in there just to see if they had something. So I did find just kind of a pullover hoodie. It's a tri-blend, so it's not going to be like the warmest thing, but it is, it does have a thickness to it. It is lightweight, so it's got like a little hand pocket in here, so I can at least keep my hands in there. But yeah, so being lightweight, it's smaller, a lot smaller than trying to fold up one of these hoodies. I am bringing a buff with me, and I am bringing a pair of gloves just in case, and then a beanie. So this is just if it gets super cold out. I'm going to kind of be testing the weather for these next few days. My original plan, I was going to leave at the end of the month to kind of finish this, but it was very difficult with getting days off, which we'll talk about while I'm on trail. But yeah, so that's clothes. That's what I'm bringing with me, and that's what I'm going to wear for 4 days. And then an extra pair of underwear. So I'll have the underwear that I have on, and then I'm bringing one more pair just in case. I really probably could get by just doing, a pair of socks, having the underwear on that I'm wearing, one pair of pants, one shirt. I'm sure I could, but again, it's raining outside. It is cold at night. I want to do at least one extra little outfit in case my stuff gets soaked. It shouldn't, but just in case. I don't want to be freezing, and I don't want to have to bail on this trip. So that is that. I do have some other Hyperlite stuff sacks that food will be going into during the power outage. I kind of plugged in all my little lighting systems in my headlamp, and I started packing up in the dark. It's not the first time I've had to do that, but yeah, so I've already started creating my little electronics bag. I did buy a To Summit toiletry bag. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be bringing this on the trip with me, but right now this has the bug stuff in there. It's got my Hygiene, things like that. So I'm going to see if I can fit this in the pack. If not, then it's going to go in with my electronics bag. So my electronics bag is just kind of electronics and just other little ditties and things that I bring with me, like the potable water tablets and things like that, the matches. So that is that. So everything, kind of organized, everything being waterproof, or as waterproof as I can possibly get it. So anything I just don't want wet by any means whatsoever is going to end up going in that big pack liner. So even if it's in a drawstring stuff sack, there's still moisture that can get in here because it's not a roll top. So even though it's in this, it'll still go inside that pack liner. It's just kind of like extra, you know, like one little layer extra of things. You know, put the raincoat in here along with the backpack pack cover. That all fits inside of one of these. So that's going to be that. All right. Kind of looking around because like I had everything laid out, and then with the power outage, like I got bored and I started like packing stuff up already. Just kind of playing around with organization. So let's get into the big item. Now, I represent Hyperlite Mountain Gear. I've been buying tons and tons of their stuff. I do have one piece of Hyperlite gear coming, but I'm not sure if it's going to be here in time for when I leave. It hasn't shipped yet, which I'm kind of bummed about because I really want to take this with me, especially for the food element of certain meals that I'm doing while I'm out there. But I am getting anxious and I kind of just want to go. So we may have to talk about that when I come back, unless by some miracle it arrives when I leave. But I've been looking at this backpack online. I've been watching reviews, and I've been intrigued by it. Now, I have the Hyperlite Mountain Gear Daybreak backpack that I use as just like my little day bag. This bag has been used as my press bag. It's made of Dyneema, all of their stuff is. And that bag has worked out perfect. Like, it's been great, especially for like little tiny day trips where like I'm just throwing the hammock in there, maybe one meal to eat or a little, you know, a couple little snacks, whatever. I used it as my press bag, which I carried like my helmet because I've been in riots and stuff. My helmet was, you know, carabined to the outside of it. I had the medical bag in there. I had a gas mask in there. Pockets. I was able to carry, you know, waters, things like that. Like I really stuffed this thing. There was tons of stuff in there. My raincoat was in there. Electronics, camera gear, all of that stuff was in there. So like it jammed all in there. You know, it's been fine, and I kind of use it as a day bag anyway. But on a recent day trip that I took, I tried to pack everything in there because it was going to rain out. And I was out filming and doing all these things and trying to cook, and I brought 3 different meals with me. And because like the meals that I'm utilizing are maybe bigger than normal people would take, not everything fit, and I was really bummed out. So I have been looking at getting just some other different types of backpacks for different types of trips. The big 65-liter blue backpack that I've been using on like the big bike rides that I've been taking in these like multi-day camping trips, like that thing's great, but it's so big, and it's kind of like forcing me to throw all types of stuff in there that maybe I don't necessarily need. So I wanted something a little bit smaller than that, but bigger than my Daybreak backpack that I have. So I picked up the Outdoor Vitals Shadowlight backpack. So this is the 45-liter pack by Outdoor Vitals. I'm actually super stoked about this. I got this last week. I've been playing around with this thing, stuffing all types of gear inside of here, and like what works where, and you know, where organization systems and all of that. So just a few things that I'll mention about this, because I'll definitely talk about this on the trail. So I haven't taken it outdoors yet, so we're going to do a big review on this. But there's 2 pockets on each side, you know, one up top, one on the bottom, like your standard style pockets. And you got that on the other side as well. On the outside for organization, you've got 2 separate pockets here. Both are mesh lined. So I already kind of started stuffing stuff in here, but like I got the Helinox chair in here, as well as the Tarp Poles are in here, and my stakes. And then the other pocket, I've got the actual tarp, the hammock straps, and the little my little Dyneema stuff sack with like my Ridgeline and stuff in there. So if I need to quickly, you know, it's raining, I need to quickly just pull the tarp out and get that set up immediately. That's right here on the outside of my pack. Everything's protected in Dyneema anyway, but it doesn't matter if it gets wet anyway. But that's right there, readily accessible. And then the inside, so it's a 45 liter. It is a roll top kind of system. There is a frame on the inside of here. So I'll talk about that more later, but it's an ultralight backpack weighing about 2 pounds, just over 2 pounds. But there is a frame system that's in here, and it is removable. So it's designed to be in here to be able to carry a little bit more weight, which I'm going to on this trip, and then plus like these multi-day camping trips that I go on. I can take that out if I want. On the inside too, there's a very long, deep pocket in there. Like I've got some stuff in here already, but in there I've got a Tyvek ground sheet that I brought just to put underneath the hammock, just because like I don't like stepping out into dirt and all of that stuff. So I've already got that folded up on the inside. There are some pretty big hip pouches that are on here. I have tons of snacks stuffed into each one of these, filled, loaded with snacks. There's multiple, I'd say there's like 5 different granola bars in each one, little trail mixes, some drink mixes, things like that. But yeah, so a few modifications that I did to the bag, just like little accessory things that I added. So I bought these little MSR pull zip pulls to add on to here. I took the little zippers off just because they're like regular zippers, and I like having a longer thing to pull on. So I did add those on there on this center pouch, which actually opens to give you access to the inside of the bag without having to roll the top down. I'm not going to need that for this trip, but it's a cool feature to have. So that does unzip. And then I put one on each of the hip pouches as well, just so I have a little bit bigger of a system to pull on. On the straps themselves, so I've got my shoulder pocket by Hyperlite Mountain Gear. I did buy a little towel as I was riding my bike to REI, which is like 10 miles away from where I'm at. And I was sweating my ass off. I'm sweating on trail, and I don't always like using the buff. So I did buy this little pocket-sized towel. This thing's pretty cool. It's pretty big, but this is a little REI thing. And then I've got a To Summit head net. This is a bug net, so literally just a mesh net that goes over your head. Super small, compact. So that's on here. And then I have this little aqua clip thing. I already put my water bottles away, but it holds your water bottle. So I have the Z-Packs version of it. You can get these from Z-Packs, or you can actually go to Aqua Clip. They are plastic. Be careful. I already broke one because I snagged it on something. So I ordered 2 more just to have. So yeah, so that's on the straps of the backpack. And like I said, maybe that whistle, I might strap up here. It does have chest straps to go across, and then obviously the hip belt, which is pretty badass. On this back side here, so all this webbing that's in here, this actually comes out. It goes all the way from pretty much the top of this pack all the way down to where it's going to rest on like your hips. It's almost like an egg carton type crate, but it's a foam material. This comes out, so it actually acts as a sit pad as well. But also in here, I have this other piece of gear that I was talking to you guys about. You just kind of pull this out. So this is another piece of gear for cooking, and this is a cutting board. So this is a GSI cutting board, flexible. It's super lightweight, and it was like the perfect kind of dimensions to put back here. When I ordered it, you know, it's big, it's gigantic. But again, because of the style of food that I'm cooking on trail, you know, I wanted something that would give me room to cut and be lightweight. But yeah, so this is, you know, it fits perfectly back here. It's out of the way. So yeah, super, super excited about that. And then everything just tucks back up inside. I've put tons of stuff in this backpack already. Just kind of like practicing stuffing it. What can I fit? Where can I put things? You know, what pockets and whatever. How does it feel? Like the weight on my shoulders and my back. I've already started adjusting the straps and all of that stuff. And I gotta tell you, like, this backpack is super comfortable. So once I get everything in here, you know, again, I've kind of packed everything, utilizing like budgeted gear, waiting on some of the newer gear that I got. So I've kind of already packed everything and put it on. And, you know, everything that I'm throwing in here is super lightweight. The backpack is super lightweight to begin with. The food is what makes everything heavy. So even adding all that food that's in here, which makes the backpack super heavy, it still feels good, you know, moving around, bending. I've like kind of crawled and kind of climbed on the bed and the couch, trying to like replicate rocks or whatever. But yeah, so far, I mean, I'm kind of digging this backpack. But yeah, so like again, the top rolls down, and then you do have this little strap here, kind of hold everything down. And the plan is that the water bladder will end up going here and hold it down by this. So yeah, that's pretty much that. If you guys have any questions, whatever, put them down in the comment section. I'm definitely going to do some reviews while I'm out there on the new gear. Hopefully everything works out. Yeah, we'll see what happens. One thing I haven't decided on whether or not I'm bringing or not bringing, trying to figure out shoes. So I've got my Columbia hiking shoes. These, you know, have been great. However, they are not the most water resistant shoe. They do take a long time to dry out. The last thing I want is my feet to be wet and cold. That will actually make me miserable. So I'm not 100% sure. But I do have these Keen boots. I've used these in the wintertime. I've used these during the rain, especially like in protest world when I was marching for miles and hours, and you know, the rain was coming. It was cold out. Several feet of snow. I've worn these, and like these actually worked out really nice. I do have like an insulated insole that's in here as well. So I am kind of thinking about taking these instead of the Columbia shoes. So this will be one thing that the day I actually leave will be what I decide, depending on weather. So that's that. Again, sorry, it's a long video. I wanted to really kind of go through all of this stuff. I'll do shorter videos on each of the different brands. Like I'll do one Hyperlite video, one Outdoor Vitals video, etc. And kind of break down To Summit, you know, break down like what gear I have, what I'm typically bringing on trips for like little hikes or these multi-day camping trips, things like that. And stuff I would bring on an actual through hike or very long distance, you know, hike. So yeah, hope you guys like the food video. I hope you like this video. I know it's long, but I'm doing a very full gear loadout. And I don't really edit too much because everything's kind of raw on this channel. But yeah, so hit the subscribe button if this is your first time here. Follow the journey that we're on. Yeah, it's awesome. I will put a link in the description too if you want to support the channel, kind of help support these trips and things like that. You can click on the Venmo link. All that stuff helps. But yeah, so otherwise, I will catch you guys on another episode of Lifeline.